Hi Libra, welcome to your general reading for July 2023 from the Mixtape Mystic. This is a general reading for the zodiac sign of Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, so take what resonates, leave the rest. Check out your other placements if you know what they are. And personal readings are now open, so anyone who would like to book a personal reading can do so in the link below. Thanks for all the subs and donations and likes and shares and everything. Y'all are fabulous. Thank you so much, Libra. I'm super jazzed to have you here hanging out on the channel. Getting right into your reading. In your first week, you have the Four of Swords. So I'm going to keep shuffling here, get the rest of the spread out, and then I'm going to get Oracle clarifiers for these. But straight from the get-go, I'm picking up on an energy of sort of being in sabbatical. Whatever that means. Maybe some of you are on summer vacation, if you're in school or if you teach. It's definitely kind of this feeling at the beginning of July of just taking it easy. I kind of sense for some of you, you had a really difficult spring. So this is sort of a time, I feel like, as we're coming right into the middle of summer, this is an energy of kind of being able to exhale a little bit, maybe for the first time in a while. Catching a groove of something, not being in so much in survival mode. Oh, interesting. Right as I said that, the devil popped out. Sneakily flipped around in the deck. Interesting. But yeah, so let's get a clarifier on that Four of Swords though, because I kind of feel like there's something else here. Oh, whoa. Okay, so this card, this is the first time this has come out in a reading. This is a blank card, front and back, that came in this deck. And I've had a couple people that have also had this deck, and they've said, oh, it's just like packaging, you know, like a blank card, like an extra print. I very much interpret it as a part of the deck. To me, it means everything and nothing. Whenever it comes out, to me, especially if it comes out as a clarifier, I really pick up on it as really whatever this first energy is, that there's something here that is possibly hidden, but hidden in such a 12th house subconscious way that language can't even really access it. Okay, it has something to do with an experience that transcends the ability for language to really even come close to articulating it. Which with the Four of Swords, excuse me, being like a very meditative energy, I feel like some of you Libras are really weighing, you know, you're figuring out what this sort of truth is that you're sleeping on. And this could be like a very spiritual experience for some of you towards the beginning of the month. But I definitely think that rest is important, and I think that having enough time, especially time outside if you can, just to connect with, you know, putting your feet in the grass, going camping, throwing up a hammock, like whatever. If you like being outside, then I feel like that'll extremely, you'll extremely benefit from that in this first week, which for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, you know that it's 4th of July weekend in the States, and it's just a really big weekend. So definitely like a lot going on. So in the midst of that, make sure that you're able to prioritize yourself as well. In your second week here, my lovely Libras, you have the Eight of Wands clarified by the Intuition card. And the Eight of Wands is a card that it can talk about communication coming in, usually really quickly. It talks about fast movement. All of these wands are shooting in kind of coming in hot, okay, and all at once. Sometimes, more recently, I've been interpreting it as when you kind of have an epiphany. Sometimes there's like an aha moment, especially if it's to do with something spiritually that you're working through, because it really it can be like kind of connected to the high priestess energy in the sense of that intuitive download, which, with it being clarified by the intuition card, that's definitely the energy I'm picking up on here in the second week for a lot of you. And I do think it is connected to this first week with the Four Swords and the Tao, clarifying it, because I think some of you know that you're really preparing for I just got chills. Yeah, okay, this makes sense, Libra. This is the month that the lunar nodes shift into your axis. It's happening around this third week here, and we're going to get into that. This is going to be a really important reading for you, Libras, so pay attention. The nodes have not been in this position for about 18 years, or 18 or 19 years. And the nodes are talking about shifting the flavor kind of the upgrades to our consciousness that we're in the process of as a collective, with them shifting into the Libra Aries axis, with the South Node being in your sign, Libra. That's going to be talking a lot about what you're letting go of. And it's a very karmic time to go through an eclipse axis, or a nodal axis where the eclipses are happening in a sign that's prominently placed in your chart, because usually the karmic things that you have to work through and release are going to be pretty front and center in your life in some way. So keep that in mind. But I really feel like these first 2 weeks are an energy of you, whether you realize this or not, you're preparing for this, I think, at a spiritual level. Libra, this is about really reflecting on everything that's happened in your life since the last time the nodes were in this position 18 years ago or so. And this is like the big, we'll kind of say, software update to your consciousness. The biggest one that's happened maybe since 18 or 19 years ago or so. So it's a big energetic shift, and it's happening this third week where you have the Two of Pentacles and it's clarified by the Success card. So to me, I'm really interpreting this as, for those of you who are really listening to what your spirit is telling you, who are going inward and allowing yourself to sit in this space where spirit resides, where your language and your thinking mind can't really access. You'll be getting these downloads that will prepare you for what is about to take place for you. And as someone who is just coming out of the nodes being in my axis, I can tell you that right before that shift happened, I experienced a similar energy where it was this really Neptunian kind of going inward, having these very spiritual experiences that worked sort of as this primer that were preparing me sort of for the big purging that was releasing with the South Node, and then also with the huge advancement forward in my dharmic path in what was happening in the North Node. So really important for these first 2 weeks of the month, Libra, to really, really, really get clear about how you're connecting with your spirit and what you are seriously ready to let go of, and becoming aware of that, because in the fourth week, we have the Devil card clarified by ideation. So for some of you, this is going to be about sort of busting through illusion these last 2 weeks here. Because I will say, like, and as someone recalling this energy before, you know, the nodes went into my axis, it was really spiritually significant for me. However, I will say it was also a little bit illusory, maybe is the word I'm trying to come up with. There were a lot of illusions that I needed to sort of swim through, that my ego was really struggling to integrate. And it's sort of just an energy of when your upper chakras are lit up and you don't have much to ground them, which I'm just noticing is like you have your lower frequency chakras here, like root and sacral in colors, and then you have your sixth chakra here. So I kind of feel like this shift that's happening is going to really ground you, but it might feel kind of like if you've ever been on a roller coaster and you like get to the very top at the beginning, you know, and there's that creep, climb, and there's that moment of like, oh, like I can't take this bag, and then there's just that rush of the experience, and then you go down, and it's kind of a thrill, but it's also, you know, can be literally sickening at times, just because it's a lot of energy to move through you all at once, which is all the more reason why we're needing to focus this first week on really grounding, you know, going inward, but doing so with I'm like visualizing like a rescue floater, like, you know, like having somebody on standby, kind of, whatever that means. I'm not sure why I'm picking up on something like that, but really understanding that you might be entering a space where you're finding it tricky to connect with your intuition in a way that maybe you have been used to, kind of like a funhouse mirrors sort of thing, where maybe you think your intuition is telling you one thing, and so you follow it, and it ends up kind of burning you. There's sort of a trickster energy about, and I'm picking up on that, especially with the Devil card in your fourth week, because that can really be about our ego. It can be about sort of that trickster energy of things being a bit of an illusion. Also, you know, it's big Scorpio energy, and the South Node is about to exit Scorpio. So I really feel like as the nodes shift, and this is just my personal experience, and I think I've heard a few other astrologers talk about it, but as the nodes shift, there can kind of be like this final purge of the energy of what's leaving, and it kind of is just this last flash of just, and you feel it kind of strongly, and then it's gone, and then there's this emerging energy of the new placement of the nodes. And so I kind of feel like for some of you, you're really experiencing that last bit of the Scorpio and the South Node as well. So, but yeah, and Capricorn energy is there too. So it's really interesting. Like I'm picking up a lot in this fourth week, with ideation being the clarifying card. I kind of feel like that really connects back to some of this Neptunian energy I was talking about, of maybe things not being quite what they seem. And what I've really experienced for myself in my process of connecting with my spirit, and if this is helpful for you, then take it, but feel free to leave it as well, is how I have been learning to determine what my, you know, if something I'm sensing is really my intuition, or if it's my ego hijacking my intuition. and dressing up as it, which it does, that's the trickster energy, right? Is whenever the message is really loud, if that makes sense, kind of if it has a lot of urgency surrounding it, if there's a sense of urgency, it's like, oh, you need to do this right now. If you don't do this, then you're going to miss this, or you're going to do this, or whatever. If it's like this voice, it's just yelling in your head. I find that for me, that's my ego dressing up as my intuition. If I'm wondering, is this my intuition? My intuition is more of a whisper. Okay, it never really yells at me. It's that high priestess energy that just is there. It's present. It is willing to guide, and it's a mode of consciousness that maybe is more accessible to us readily than we really give credit for. But it really takes turning the volume down on this energy, this devil energy, in order to really get a clear picture of it. It's kind of like maybe playing one song on a radio at a really low volume, and then playing another one on another radio at a really high volume. And it's like you can hear sort of the low frequencies, or like the low volume sounds of like what is playing on that quiet radio, but to really make out what it's saying and what the words are and what the music is, you have to go and you have to turn down the other radio. That's like a huge thing I'm picking up on, which, you know, at this channel, we love mixtapes and stereos. So I'm really picking up on this kind of stereo energy, stereo consciousness kind of with the Two of Pentacles. But I never really clarified, you know, talking about the success card being the clarifier. I feel like what you're shifting into overall for most of you Libras is really, it's going to be a really powerful time for you. Also, this kind of feels like the nodes to me. Sort of these dual points. So I feel like as you are preparing your spirit and figuring out what your intuition sounds like, you are going to be having success in figuring out how to integrate these experiences and moving forward into what will be the beginning of Leo season. Really, I think that the karma that a lot of you are working through is going to be around certain ideals that you have for yourself, for your relationships, maybe, that are ideals that are pretty set in stone right now. And I think the universe is going to be working on you to chisel them down to something else, maybe. I feel like there are ideals that some of you have that, and you can, again, take this or leave it. Like, this is, you know, whatever. If it's not your reading, it's not your reading. But I'm really picking up that for a lot of you, most of you probably watching this, there are going to be things that you experience over the next 18 months that are going to be humbling, and it will reshape your worldview in regards to the ideals that you have, especially regarding yourself and how you show up in the world, and how you relate to other people who are significant in your life, that you're building intimate bonds with in some form or another. So, super interesting, like that the cards are very clearly picking up on this turning point. And that even showed up for Gemini, where they seem to really have kind of this churning of energy that happened as these nodes were shifting. So my advice would be, you know, keep in mind this is just the beginning of an 18-month period for y'all. So this is really about, you know, this isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. There's going to be a lot of karmic lessons for you that are going to challenge you and reshape your reality over the next year and a half. And a little bit of like a buckle up sort of energy. But don't be afraid of it. You're going to come out on the other end, and it's going to be really beautiful, and you're going to be so grateful for it. and grateful for the changes that you were able to make because of the grace of Spirit and how you were led through the process. Your annual Spirit card for this month is the Vulture. And I gotta tell you, I was just driving home and I saw a whole bunch of vultures on some roadkill. And I thought they were crows at first. And I went up to it and I thought, like, I was trying to be funny. I thought it was a bunch of crows. And I leaned out my window and I screamed, "Murder!" But then the joke really didn't land on the vultures because, quite honestly, they're birds and they don't get jokes. I don't know why I keep trying. Here's what the book says about the Vulture card. Guardian and purifier, essential for rebalance. I can already tell you this is about the South Node going into your sign. The vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to and cleans up our messes. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or tragedy is a blessing in disguise. When in balance, clarifies, reveals wisdom. When out of balance, dramatic, aggressive. To bring into balance, clean your space. Sage. So yeah, definitely it's clearing energy. It's big South Node clearing energy. And it's super important. I can't even tell you how important it is. If you remember last month, Libra, for those of you who watched the June reading, that was, you also kind of had a big turn, big plot twist. I think we started off with like Three of Cups energy. There was a lot of like party, hanging out, and then things kind of got a little bit, I think, tricky and a little emotionally heavy towards the end of it. So, I think you're kind of recovering maybe from that, whatever's going on, and you're preparing for this big shift because the universe has definitely been clearing things out of the way for you to get you ready for this lunar node school you're about to go through. Think of it as like a certificate program, right? 18 months, you're going to come out, you're going to be so qualified to just live better, honestly. But this is your moon mantra card, Libra. I'm going to leave you with this. I accept that here, now, is exactly where I am, and that it is a place of profound learning. I could not have said it better myself. Thanks for all the likes and subs and everything I mentioned earlier. Again, personal readings are open, but until next time, Libra, I'll see ya. Peace.